Happy Rhodium Day. Sprint 45.
Woohoo.
Fleet version 4.73.0. If we have everybody on the call, I think we're ready to kick off. Yep. All right, cool. Some of the highlights in this release, really exciting one. On the MDM side, account-based iOS and iPadOS and Android enrollment. I didn't realize that. That's awesome. Orchestration has TPM encryption with Linux, and software has really cool stuff with surfacing Linux kernel vulnerability. So it's going to be a fun one. Hand it off to George and MDM to kick it off.
Alrighty, then we'll get it started with Gabe showing you IDP in front of your iOS enrollment.
Hello, share my screen. Okay. Things going on. Here we go. So this is the story here. I'll read the user story. As an IT admin, I want my end users to authenticate with our identity providers before they can enroll their BYOD device, so that I can be sure that only employees can enroll and get access to organization resources. Reason we're working on this is if you look over on the side here, it's a couple customers who wanted this, and also customer promise from this label you can see. I'm gonna jump over to my fleet now. So I wanted to start this by showing kind of the setup that's required. So what I mean by that is if I go to my settings, integrations, and MDM. So MDM must be turned on. For the flow I'm going to show today, which is the iPhone, you also need your Apple Business Manager connected. So I have that connected here. And my iOS, my iPhones are going to be going to this team, which I've called personal mobile devices. So the first change I'm going to show you is the last bit of setup you need, which is if you go back to your settings, go to the integrations, and now if you go to this section called identity provider, you'll see that there's this section here called end user authentication. This existed already, but it was on the mobile device management section. So we've moved that over to the identity provider section. So if you're looking for that, that's where it is now. So, and yeah, the last bit of setup is you just have to have your identity provider set up here, which I've already done. I'm gonna go through the flow now. So if I go to the controls tab and I go to setup experience, I'm gonna make sure that I'm on the team for the iPhone, where I said iPhone should go to, which is these personal mobile devices team. And I'm going to need to turn on end user authentication. So this is the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to save that. And while we're on this page, you'll also notice that on the right side here, which is a preview of what the end user will see during their setup, we now have this tabbed UI. So before we were only ever showing this because we were only dealing with company-owned devices. And now we have a tab that shows personal devices. So if I click in here, it's just a little description with images of what an end user can expect to see for this flow. So that is kind of the first UI change. Okay, so as far as setup in Fleet, that's all that's required. Now I'm going to actually do the enrollment of my device I have here on the side. So I'm going to go here just to show I have no hosts or no iPhones with anything enrolled in this team yet. The way that you get access to enrollment on the iPhone is in this add hosts modal. You'll see iOS and iPadOS, and you'll see this link here. So this has all existed before, but this is kind of just want to go through the flow that's going to be needed. So what I'm going to do, or what I'm going to try to do, is I'm going to mirror my screen for my iPhone so you can see what I'm doing. Can you see this screen right here with the iPhone? Okay. So as a IT admin, I'm going to take that link and I'm going to give this to whoever has the iPhone that needs to be enrolled. They're going to go to that link. And when they go to that, oh no. I just did this. I don't know why it's not working. Um, give me a second. So I think I've set up something incorrectly. I had just wiped my database to kind of have a fresh start. And let me just see if I can fix this really quick. Ah, that's it. Okay, this should be it. I just put in this URL incorrectly. So let me try that again. Get that link, copy it, go back here. There we go. Okay, so when a user on their iPhone goes to that link, what they'll see here is the identity provider login. So in most cases, it'll be whatever that company uses for their identity provider, like Okta or can't remember the other one off the top of my head. But what I have here is just my local simple SAML. And so I'm going to log in here. 3. There you go. And now I have access to this page. So if you remember before, this flow was a user went to that link and they would immediately go to this screen. So if you had that link, you could download. Well, you could get the screen to say download the enrollment file, but now it's gated behind the IDP for the company. And now the rest of this is just the same flow. I think it's going to disconnect me when I try to do this because it did that last time. But as far as actually enrolling the device, this hasn't changed. So this is the same as it used to be. Here I'm enrolling the device. Yeah, so it disconnected me. Try to connect again. Okay, I think that is the enrollment. Yep, enrolled or installed, profile installed. And so now if I go over here, refresh the page, I can see the iPhone device now. So yeah, I think the main point of this whole flow and feature was gating that iPhone enrollment behind the company's IDP. I think this is also, we also did this flow for Android and iPads. And I think that's it. Any questions on this feature?
No, looking great.
Cool.
Alrighty. Then while you get set up for the second demo, Jordan, do you want to demo the video that you shot, or would you like me to share it?
If you don't mind, just because I've got some background noise. Sorry.
Alrighty.
Hey, George, before you get into that, just one question for Gabe and for the people watching on YouTube. I just want to get your profile verified. When we were installing that profile, it said not verified.
I want to say that's a case of if we added the fleet cert to the iPhone before sending the profile, which I'm not really 100% sure how we would manage that.
It can also be signed by like an Apple developer cert.
Yeah, we could add that.
So what's common? Like, what should I do if I'm a fleet user to make sure it doesn't say not verified?
I think user
I think user can kind of send profile upfront.
Well, they're not
Which
enrolled yet.
I think you can install like certificate before being enrolled. So like you install that cert and then like get enrolled, and then during enrollment you'll see verified. I think that's how other tools might do it. So like yeah, kind of there's two steps, but pretty much it's just because Fleet is not in your certificate list yet. So
So as an IT admin, I install the cert first and then I install the profile, or do I need to sign the profile with the cert?
not as an IT admin because it's not enrolled yet. So like end user would need like either you send me an email, hey, this is like cert install, and then like you hit this link to enroll, and then like you see verified. But I think as soon as you describe to your users, which we have this text on the enroll page, it says, hey, this might show not verified, but that's okay. Like just that's how we handle today, I think.
Is that common in other solutions out on the market?
I think so. It is.
All right, so to the wider community, call us on that if we're wrong and we'll fix it. But
And it also does say verified after we install the Fleet root cert, which is the first step once you actually enroll. Yeah.
It switches to verified. Yeah, this
Yeah.
might have changed, but when we built this feature, we went through the same flow in Jamf, and it shows the same. Correct me if I'm wrong, folks, but the same not verified for the initial enrollment profile.
There's a way that you can configure it, I believe, in Jamf to use a more widely trusted certificate signing authority like DigiCert or GoDaddy.
Yeah, we had talked about when we built the feature, I think, like a bring your own certificate of signing authority for this sort of thing for, customers that have already a third-party CA that they're using for signing similar types of requests.
awesome. All right, so we'll fast follow with that and ship that shortly so that that'll be an option for users. And the other thing is for that experience when people open up the phone for the first time, if we're going to coach them on the certificate, it sounds like we can maybe put some more language in line there. Is that the right understanding? In terms of saying, hey guys, this might not be verified, but it's okay, you can still install it.
We have that already in there. I don't, you might miss that on the screen, but it's already there for now. That's what we did to help understand why.
Cool. And if anybody in the wider community has feedback on that for us, just like let us know. We're happy to incorporate it. As you can see, it's all coming together still, but it's ready to use today.
Alrighty, then we have a small update to our default disk encryption. I'll let Jordan take it away, but this is work that Magnus did.
Hi, we're going to do a quick video demo of this feature Magnus worked on, update default disk encryption settings on Mac OS. Our user story is as an IT admin enforcing disk encryption. I want Fleet to enforce end users to enable disk encryption during new Mac setup so that I can be sure my end users' Macs have disk encryption enabled before they start working. And so, the sort of main thing that we were doing on this feature was changing this defer force at user login max bypass attempts. And so you can see what this looks like on an existing host. This is actually my local system. Force at user login cancel attempt is currently set to 1, and that's just because it was set up on a prior version of Fleet and it's already encrypted and all that. And then I've got a new host here. I'm manually enrolling, so we're going to install this enrollment profile. And then once this gets installed, we'll give it just a moment, and here we go. So we've got our disk encryption profile installed. You can see now when I open it, this force at user login cancel attempts is 0. And so if I'm just going to log out. So I'm actually going to just cancel it during this logout. But you'll see that when I try to log in again, I'm not given the option. If I cancel it, I'm unable to log in. And so I am forced to enable File Vault. Takes just a moment. And now you can see that File Vault is enabled and encrypting my disk. Thank you very much.
Alrighty, and Gabe, are you set up for the last demo we got for features?
No, not yet. Just come back to me, please.
Alrighty. Well, then maybe we can pull it up after orchestration goes by. Back
Sounds
to you,
like
Luke.
that. Cool. Thank you. Great stuff. Over to Sharon and orchestration for their features.
Thank you, Luke, and happy Friday, everyone. This sprint, our team was, well, the nature of the team, we were spread around a lot of things. So we'll start with Victor. Let me just share my screen. So we'll start with a few videos by Victor. Victor is currently, if I get it right, on the way home to Texas, so he won't be with us this meeting. We'll start with host vitals variable on Windows configuration profile. And no, sorry, share my video, 1 second. Please tell me if you don't see it right.
In this demo, we're going to show our first Windows fleet variable, which is the host UUID. As an IT admin, I want to specify a host hardware UUID in Windows configuration profile so that I can identify which host has which Okta Verify certificate when looking at Okta logs. Now, Apple has a dedicated Apple variable that can be used to get the hardware UUID, but Windows doesn't have that, so we're adding a fleet variable that we can use for that. So what we're going to do is we're going to use an ADMX profile to put a random string on our Windows computer, and then we're going to check to make sure it's there. Let's jump in. So in order to set up an ADMX profile, I first uploaded a policy definition for ADMX, which includes the key and the value. And then I can use ADMX profile. So in this case, I'm just setting my value to hello from MDM. I'm going to jump to my Windows machine and check that value. So we see it's set now, hello from MDM. Now I'm going to change it to use our new fleet variable, fleet var host UUID. I did that, so let's jump into our fleet. We're going to, you see I already have the ADMX installed here, right? That's the definitions of ADMX. I'm going to add the profile, ADMX value, open, add profile, go to hosts, go to my Windows host. It is pending, so let's go ahead and wait until it is deployed. Okay, we see it isn't verifying now. I'm going to go ahead and click refetch so it gets to verified. Meanwhile, let's go back to our PowerShell and see if the value changed. And there we go. Hello, and I have the full hardware UUID here in my ADMX profiles, all sent through MDM. Let's jump back to see if it verified. There we go. It has verified. That's it. Back to you, Sharon.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it.
Can't imagine it.
Imagine having
I
a
can
commercial.
imagine. I can imagine it.
Having a commercial during live presentation. Imagine that. That's YouTube for you guys. Okay, next thing is a subsequent things that happened after a good meeting with a customer that wanted us to somehow include being able to run, to set things as they do with Ansible. Victor did a great POC for Ansible and Chef, and we'll present those two videos. I would think there will be a lot of questions and a lot of things, but these are a great summary of things, so happy to answer later. Let's start with the first video. And I hope there won't be too many commercials after that, but it's YouTube.
In this video, we will show you how to deploy an Ansible playbook onto a Fleet host. So what is Ansible? It's an IT automation tool, similar to other tools such as Chef, Puppet, SaltStack. And what I'm going to show you can be done today with existing Fleet features. So what I'm showing you is a working environment where I created the artifacts that are needed to do this. So I'm showing you the playbook. So this playbook is gonna install and configure an Apache web server. And the artifacts that we care about are these four. So we have a Ansible runtime tar.gzip, and which contains the playbook, of course, and it also contains the Ansible config and requirements.txt, because Ansible is a Python tool. You notice how I am actually creating the ansible.config file from the script. Because I'm doing it from the script, that means this could be to be a script-only solution and does not need to depend on the software features of Fleet. So this could all be reworked into a one large script. So this build script creates this tar.gzip file, and then install simply runs the pip installation, and then the post install is where we actually run the playbook, and we pass in some extra variables, including a Fleet secret. So this is how we can pass Fleet secrets into the Ansible playbook. And here it's being renamed to a var1. So if we go back to the playbook, search for var1, and we see it's being printed out here. Printing a secret is not good practice, but this is just for demonstration purposes. Okay, and in this work area, I also have a test deployment where I am testing the tar.gzip and all these scripts using a local Docker container. And this will all be on GitHub in the link in the description of this video. All right, so let's jump to Fleet. So we have our Linux host. I can show you right here. So there's nothing running on localhost right now. If I go under software, I did upload this already. So if we click on this and we go, we can see the install script, the post install script, and also the uninstall script all loaded up already. So let's go ahead and install it. And the installation is going to take a couple minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and pause here. Okay, it has installed. So let's click on this. I'll look in the details, and we do see the install script. We are missing the post install script here, but we do have a story to add it, number 31778, which I hope to get prioritized shortly. And then let's go ahead and look at our host. Let's go ahead and reload, and there we go. We have Apache running. We have gotten the secret, so we can deploy Ansible playbooks onto Fleet hosts, including using Fleet secrets. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Victor. And I'll move to the next demo, which is how we do it with Chef. And so we are talking about 4 automations that we want to include in our product, which is Ansible, Chef, Puppet, and Salt. For now, we have Ansible and Chef, so I'll show the video for Chef, and stay tuned for Puppet and Salt coming next sprint. But let's see the Chef one.
In this demo, we'll show you how to run a chef recipe on your Fleet host. So first I'll demonstrate my work area, but before that, what is Chef? Well, Chef is an IT automation software that can install certain things on your hosts and keep them up to date. It's similar to other software like Ansible, SaltStack, Puppet. So in this work area, I have some recipes. So I have a recipe here to install Apache and make sure it's running. Everything's good. And I will bundle these recipes into these chef_runtime.tar.gzip file. So in addition to the recipes, I will actually bundle Chef itself. So in this example, I'm actually getting the enterprise Chef installer. The Chef company has, as far as I know, has stopped making the truly open source distributions, but there are other places where you can get them, like Sync does provide the distribution of the open source software, but for this example I'm using the enterprise version. So we will bundle all the Chef files in our tar.gzip. We'll also bundle some configuration files and some wrappers that set the paths correctly. Then we have the install script that will just install all the files, including the required packages, and does a bunch of checks as well. And then we have the post install script, which basically the main thing it does is it actually runs the Chef client and applies the recipes locally. And we're using JSON attributes here to also pass in a Fleet secret. Fleet secret can be set via an API or it can be set with GitOps. So we'll demonstrate how this Fleet secret is gonna propagate. So in this case, it's gonna show up on a web page, which is coming through, I believe down here. Here we go. We will feed into the web page and it'll get displayed on the web page.
You're muted, Sean.
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry, I had to stop the video for a second to say that I'm not sure I heard it in the previous video, but secrets are also supported for the Ansible and will be supported anywhere. So that's part of the thing. I'll let Victor continue.
And all of this can be done today with the current Fleet. So let's go ahead and do it. So we have our server right now, our Ubuntu server. It has nothing on localhost. So let's go ahead and run this cookbook on it. I have already uploaded Chef runtime, and as you can see, I have the install, post install, and uninstall scripts here. So let's go ahead and install. It'll take a couple minutes. I'm going to pause. Okay, it looks like it installed. Let's take a look at it. So in here we see the details of the install script. We are missing the post install script here, but we have a feature request to add it, number 31778. Currently we can get the post install script details output via an API call. Let's go ahead and look at our host. So let's refresh this, and there we go. We have successfully ran a recipe, a whole cookbook on our host, coordinated by Fleet, and we can see that our secret variable has been passed down successfully. So that's great. So this repository that I've been showing you, I will put the link to this GitHub repo in the video description. We have Chef here. We also have Ansible working, example working, and then we'll have Puppet and SaltStack as well.
Okay, one last thing to say before I go to questions. So the main important thing about using this method of allowing people to use their Ansible resources is we could definitely support what they do in our product, but in this way, we allow companies that already have big playbooks and big cookbooks to use their own stuff with almost zero transition effort. So that's the big thing here. Mike, I'm also excited about that. And if anyone has any question, I'm happy to answer. Well, if not, I'll move to the next item, also by Victor. Okay, TPM Linux. I heard a little bit of confusion about what TPM is, so just one sentence. So TPM is just a mechanism on a CPU to do some crypto stuff, encryption, signing, etc. When we say code name the TPM work, we mean double-sided encryption, signing of messages. So if TLS is only the server signing its messages, so all agents know the server is authentic, what we call the TPM work is like MTLS, mutual TLS. So the agent will sign its communication, so the server knows all the agents are true. And let's see Victor's video here. Please observe the perfect coordination between live presenter and the video. Back to you, Victor.
Thanks, Sharon. Lucas did a great job last time demoing the TPM-based host identity certificates with HTTP message signatures. And this story is basically part that we missed, which is the renewing those certificates. So certificates are issued for 365 days and they're renewed within 180 days of expiration. So this mirrors what we do with the Apple SCEP certificates. The difference is how we're actually renewing them. So we could not use the standard SCEP renewal process for this because we're using ECC keys, and our library does not support renewing ECC keys. So what we're doing is we're getting a new certificate, but instead of passing the same challenge, we're passing in a signed message proving the ownership of the current ECC key. And we're embedding that in a custom CSR extension. So for that, we got a new IANA private enterprise number for fleet. So this is going to be the first CSR extension that we're using. We're passing the serial number and then we're passing the signature. So that way the server knows that the host has the original certificate in TPM. And the reason we cannot use the original challenge is because the original challenge is simply the enrollment secret, which could be rotated. So we're not relying on that enrollment secret. Okay, that's all I wanted to say about the technical details, and we added some guide changes documenting the details of the expiration. That's it. Back to you, Sharon.
Thank you, Victor. And with that, we finish the video section. So last thing from Victor is CIS work. I believe most of the people know what CIS is, but since this is a public video, we fleet support policies that are based on CIS work of adhering hosts to the CIS policies. And we keep them up to date. I won't go into the details to waste time, but we just updated the macOS 15, 14, and 13 to the latest documents. If anyone is interested in details, it's inside here. Any questions for Victor that I may answer? If not, we'll hand it over to Scott and Lucas presenting the ability to use UI for secrets. Scott, Lucas, who wants to take it?
Yep, I'll take it. Hey, folks. Well, okay. So as an IT admin, I want to add secrets via the UI so that I can use secrets in scripts and profiles without needing to use GitOps or the API. Well, in previous demos, we showed using secrets on GitOps and the API, but now we're adding this on the UI. I'll show that in a second. So the front end was implemented by Scott, and I implemented the backend. Now there's a new section under controls and called variables. And one thing to note here is that variables are still global. There's no concept of team variables yet. So if you go to no team or any other team, it just will be the same variables all over the place. And we added capabilities to obviously list the variables, and it's paginated here. And we also had a capability to add a new variable. So if you go to add custom variable, and you said, well, let me just first do something here. So these variables can be used on scripts and profiles, as stated here. So I'm going to go ahead and try to upload a script that uses a variable. So I have this script called demo.sh that only has echo fleet secret demo. So all these secret variables must have this prefix fleet secret on the script or profile. So I'm going to upload this script. Now, if I do this like this, it should fail because we don't have a variable yet, right, called demo. So I'm going back to variables. I will add a custom variable called demo. You don't need to prefix here. So it's telling you here that you can reference by adding that. And then we're going to do super secret value. I'm going to save. Something to note is that you cannot really see the variable, and that's by design. You cannot see the variable after you set it because it's encrypted on the database. So you can just see the name, and on the API, you can see the ID, but that's about it. So we have a variable here called demo. Now go back to scripts, upload the script. And now let's real quick run this script here on this host. I'm not, the same should happen for profiles. I'm not going to demo that now because it is existing functionality. I'm just trying to demo just for scripts, and should be fairly quick. All right, we had super secret here. Obviously, we encourage users on our documentation to not do this because it's going to end up on the logs. So this is just for demo purposes. Now I'll go back to controls variables. So you can also delete now variables. Now there's something here that's a to-do here for this demo that we're gonna be working on this, which is that if you delete a custom variable, we have to make sure to not break scripts and profiles that already reference the variable. This is a new functionality, so we'll be working on what this should do. Hopefully for script, we'll just make it so that the script is failed to deploy when you try to run the script on a host. And the same for profile, it should shown as failed on the host details. But that's how to do here. We're gonna be working on that after the demo. Then, well, it's sorted alphabetically. In the future, we can easily add a search filter here and sorting mechanism, but that's currently just by default sorted alphabetically. And then we're going to be adding a feature guide. Actually, there's already a feature guide here for this. Give me a second. This hide secrets in scripts and configuration profiles. So this one, this guide is telling us that you can only use GitOps. We're going to be updating this guide this is a to-do also to specify the mechanism to do that on the UI now. And I think that's about it. Scott, let me know if I missed anything, but that should be it.
No, great demo. Thank you.
Questions for Lucas about this feature? It actually comes in a perfect time for the work with the Ansible and Chef stuff. Exactly what we need at the right time. Thank you, Lucas.
I had one question, Sharon.
Yeah, sure.
Are the variables version controlled or cached historically in the database? Like if you change
No.
it, is the old one still there, or do they get overwritten?
Yeah, no, overridden. Yeah, no versioning.
Yeah, and obviously, I think Lucas mentioned it encrypted in the database. Okay, next we have a nice feature from Scott, Dante, and Jacob. We all know we have scripts that we can run, and we can run it even if the host is offline, it'll go back and run it. But now we have a mechanism to schedule it. So say I want to run it on a specific date or something. Actually, this feature holds an underlying mechanism that these guys built, and it will allow us to build on this mechanism for rescheduling, stuff like that. But I'll let Scott, Dante, and Jacob take it. Dante, Scott, who wants to present it?
I have a video. I'm going to attempt to share my video and share my audio. It's the first time for me, so be kind. Let's see how it goes. Right. Actually looking for I'm not seeing it on my I'm failing already. Sharon, do you think you could go ahead and just share that video for me?
Sure, no problem.
Thank you.
Any commercials you want me to put? Or...
Not yet. I might have a little commentary after the fact.
Okay, 1 second. Hope that's the right one.
Hi, this is Scott with a demo of a new feature in Fleet, scheduled scripts. This was a great collaboration between Jacob, Dante, Rachel, Noah, and myself. The user story is, as an IT admin, I want to schedule a script run in advance at a specific time so that I can make changes to computers at an expected time. And this builds off of the batch script execution feature introduced in a recent release. So you'll see here that I have a team with 100 hosts, and thanks to that batch script feature, I can select a number of them and click Run Script to open the batch script modal window. I can select a script that I want to run, and instead of running it immediately, it will now present us with a choice of Run Now or Schedule for Later, with a reminder of the script that I want to run and which host this script will be compatible with. If I click Schedule for Later, I'm presented with a form where I can specify a date and time when I'd like the script to run. Note that the date and time are in UTC, and to help you do that time math, you can hover over this time label to get the current time in UTC. So let's schedule a script to run in a couple of minutes. I'll use that time math here. Okay, so I want it at 4:08 in UTC. When I click Run, I can click on this banner. I'll be taken to the New Scripts UI, where you can see information about scripts that have been scheduled, and you can hover over the description to see the time that that script will start running. You can also switch tabs to see scripts that have batches that have run in the past and ones that are running right now. The new side navigation will switch you between this batch progress UI and the old library, where you can still see the scripts that you have, and you can download them, edit them, delete them, or upload new ones. All right, you can see now that the script has started its run. So let's move to the Started tab. For any batch script, we can view details of the run by clicking on the row. For running scripts or scheduled scripts, we can cancel the run by hovering over the pending hosts count and clicking Cancel. Canceling will move the script immediately to the finished script section. Another thing to note here is this awesome new progress bar, which shows you the number of successful script runs in green, the number of errored ones in red, and the rest of the hosts of the batch in gray. This number here will show you the number of hosts that returned a value, whether they successfully ran the script or returned with an error, over the number of hosts that were targeted for the batch. And you can see here the number of hosts that returned an error when running the batch. This feature also introduces new filters when viewing the hosts associated with a batch. We can now view the hosts that were run successfully, ones that returned an error, as well as ones that were incompatible with the script, either because they were the wrong platform or FleetD doesn't have script running enabled on that host. And we can also view the hosts that were canceled, either because their batch run was canceled or because the host was individually canceled by going to the host details and canceling the script run in its pending activity. The last thing I'll show here is some improvements to the global activity feed. So you can see we have a couple of new activities. We have one for scheduling a batch script, and we can see one for canceling the batch script. This one, because I was using virtual hosts from OS Query Perf, it didn't actually cancel it in time, so you'll see that it didn't actually cancel any runs because they'd already run and we just hadn't marked it as finished yet. But you can, if it was a very long running script with lots and lots of hosts, you would see a number here of the ones that were canceled. The most important improvement to the activity feed, though, is something that, big shout out to Dante for implementing this. You now don't see the individual host runs in the global activity. So previously, when you ran a batch script with lots of hosts, every time a host ran that script, you'd see it in this activity feed. But that has now been improved so that those individual runs no longer show up in the global activity. But if you go to an individual host, you can still see the script run. That one didn't have one, but you can see on this host that it ran the script. And that's all for scheduled scripts. Thanks for watching. One thing I forgot to mention or accidentally cut out of that video is that modal pop-up that we have right now, where it shows the number of scripts that ran, errored, canceled, etc. That's being replaced in the next release with a much nicer UI when you click on any of those batch scripts to show like a full inline list of the hosts that are involved in the batch and what their status is. So that's coming up soon. And yeah, great work, everybody, on getting that across the line.
Okay, thank you, Scott, and thanks, Scott, Dante, and Jacob for this feature. I should say a lot of cooperation, as always, with Rachel and the product. With this, wasn't exactly according to process, but the way we did it was like huge and great cooperation. So thank you all, everyone that was involved. Next, I'll hand it over to Dante with another feature. Dante, you want to take it?
Hey, yeah. No, sorry, I don't need to present individually. What I was going to talk about was the part that Scott mentioned at the very end of his video about some activities not showing up in the activity feed. But he covered it very well, so I don't think I need to present that individually.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks again, everyone. And we'll move to another feature by Juan and Scott, the requirement to add BitLocker PIN. Is it Juan or Scott who wants to take it, or you want me to show the video?
I think Juan recorded a video.
Yeah, there's a video here. Okay, let me just share it. Tell me if you see it right or if you don't.
Hello, I'm going to be doing a demo of the BitLocker PIN feature that we implemented this past sprint. So here I have a Windows host, and as you can see, this encryption is turned on. right? And is in a verified state. And if I go to my Windows VM here, let me open the BitLocker MMC. You can see that the C drive is encrypted, but I don't have any options for setting up a TPM ping. So if I go to the control section in OS settings and I turn require BitLocker PIN, I click save here. So if I jump back to my VM and refresh my my device page, we can see this new banner that was added, right? And if we click here, we can see some options on how to set up the PIN. And if I go to my host details page, and let me do a refresh here, we can see here a similar banner, and we can see that the this encryption status changed from action required. So now let me jump back to the VM and let me open up again the BitLocker MMC. And let me do a refresh from NDM because this is implemented using NDM. Where's the refresh? Oh, here we go. Okay, let me run the sync. Okay, it's synced. Let me open the BitLocker MNC again. And here we can see that a new option is added, right? So if I click here, I'm now able to set up a PIN. So let me just do that. Set PIN. Now let me refresh again. And here we go. We can see that this encryption status was changed to verified again.
So I think an important thing to call out there is that as you can see from this demo, a BitLocker PIN is not a requirement, like a hard physical requirement, where we won't let them use their computer until they set a PIN. There is an option to actually do that where it'll kind of nag the user to set a PIN. But in order to do that, you have to forego the option of auto encrypting their device silently. So the option we went with and that other solutions seem to have is that you make it so that they can set a PIN and then you report back to Fleet that they haven't, and you kind of nag them that way. And then that warning will go away when they finally set it.
Yeah, that's an important thing to say. I think we discussed it when we talked to product guys. Require BitLocker is a requirement from the person. The company, the organization is requiring the person to do it. We allow the ability to do it. We allow the tools to do it. I'll try to be quick with the time because we are hogging a lot of time. So we have another two things from Juan. Is Juan on the call? I'm guessing he's not. The first thing is Salsa attestation updates. I'll just show it. This is a story as a user, as a Fleet user. I want to have all Fleet binaries to have Salsa attestation so that I know every binary I'm using from Fleet has been modified has not been modified since it's being built. There is a PR for it. Feel free to review it. And one last thing from Juan. This one, new global activity when recovery key is escrowed. We, as Juan just showed, there's the ability to escrow the key. And when we do that, we actually want an activity feed log line to be presented. That was done as well. Now we have another line for Jacob. I don't know where it disappeared. Did I just, sorry, one second, I'll show the video. 1 second. Okay, that's it for the orchestration features. Hopefully we left enough time for Teams team. Are we allowed to still do puns on Teams team? Anyway, Luke, back to you.
Thank you. Tons and tons of great stuff from the orchestration team in this release. Really excited, and the release as a whole packed with lots of great features. So exciting to see. Over to Tim Lee and the software product group.
Very cool. All right. So first up is over to Haziel and Rachel on servicing Linux kernel vulnerabilities.
Hey folks, gonna share my screen here. Sorry, only working with one screen today, so. All right, can y'all see the GitHub issue? Cool. Yeah, so go ahead and read the user story. As a security analyst, I want to see vulnerabilities of Linux operating systems so that I can prioritize remediation effectively. So yeah, this was a customer request. In the past, we did not have, or we didn't show in the product vulnerabilities on Linux related operating systems or Linux-based operating systems. And that's because vulnerabilities for those aren't really handled the same way as for like Mac OS or Windows, where there's a vulnerability against the operating system as like a whole product. Linux-based operating systems are, I mean, every operating system has a kernel basically, but they're kind of like a kernel with some kind of extra stuff around it, right? That makes up the Ubuntu part or the Fedora part or whatever. So vulnerabilities on a Linux-based operating system are really vulnerabilities on the kernel. Everything else around the kernel is just kind of like basically just software. So because of that, we didn't show them in the past, but we got a request for it, and we were able to find a way to put it into the product. I think a way that I think makes sense and is going to help customers find these vulnerabilities and be able to address them. So if we go into the UI, and you can disregard this warning here. I just forgot to change my APM token. So I've got a bunch of different hosts in here, and the changes really happen over here in the software tab. So when we come over here to the OS tab now, in the past, for anything that was Linux based, any operating system that was Linux based, it would show not supported here. But now you can see that we're listing vulnerabilities. So you can see kind of Mac OS would always had that, but we've got vulnerabilities listed out here for the Linux-based hosts. So if we click through on one of these, I'll just go with the Amazon Linux one. You can see that for this operating system version, there's one kernel that's related to it, and that's version 5.15.0. And you can see the list, or it tells you kind of how many vulnerabilities are here and the host count as well. And if you click through to this just takes you to the software details page for that, for the kernel. And you can see this is, kind of standard, the existing view that shows you the vulnerabilities breakdown. And yeah, so if we click through on the Debian, you can see we've got a couple of different kernels here. And then on Ubuntu, this one has a whole bunch of different kernels available. This is the one that has vulnerabilities. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's kind of seems like it's a fairly small change, but this the team really came together for this one. There was a bunch of different things to kind of plug in and tweak to make this work for Linux. Right now, we support Amazon Linux, Debian, and Ubuntu. And there will be support for RHEL, Red Hat Enterprise Linux based systems coming soon. There's some things that we have to tweak about how we process vulnerabilities for those that we need to finish before we fully support that. And yeah, I think there's a guide update in here as well. So we'll make sure that the related guide gets updated. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Next up is Rachel, if you are here.
I am here.
There you are.
My family calendar blocked my Slack as away, but I'm here. Yeah, so I just have one iteration feature to make this a little more delightful. So on our software pages, we have the ability to filter by vulnerabilities. And so what we are adding is the ability to filter by a custom range. So the user story is, as a security engineer on the software page, I want to filter by a custom severity, common, vulnerability, severity score, range, so that I can filter software by a vulnerability threshold my security team uses. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys what's currently on here. We have these vulnerability filters here in the top right corner. And when you go to this, you can choose a pre-selected range here. So what our users want is to choose their own range. Our backend and our front end technically supports it, but you'd have to actually go into your query params and be like, oh, I want severity scores of at least 7.5. And then you'll see a custom range here. However, that's not nice. So we have now added the ability to, so this is in main, to actually set your severity scores here. So we now have these two new input types for numbers where you can set your minimum and your maximum, and it'll have nifty-difty error states and whatnot. So like if you accidentally put a max score smaller than a min score, you can't actually do that. And yeah, so for our users who want a severity of at least 7.5, they can easily type it in here, hit apply, and there it is. And this is both on the software page with versions as well. And then if you go to a specific host software inventory, you can also add your custom severity scores there. And that's it.
Awesome. And that wraps it up for new features on the software team.
Nice.
Back to you, Luke.
Nice work. Great to see our vulnerability features maturing, and I know they're going to continue to over the next year. So excited to see that. Cool. That is it for features in 4.73. We're going to move into bugs.
Actually, Luke, real fast,
Oh,
just to bring you back, we had that
Thank
one
you.
small thing that Gabe had to bring up.
I'm like a freight train. Thank you. Oh, back over to Gabe.
Appreciate it.
Hey, this will be really quick. So on the host details page, you will also see this on the My Device page. In the certificates table, we've just added two new columns. Those columns being the issuer column and the issued. So yeah, you can see who issued, or who's the issuer of your certificate and what date it was issued. That's it.
All right, thank you, Gabe, and a nice little palate cleanser there for you. Back to you, Luke.
Very nice. Nice finisher. All right, that is 4.73 Sprint 45, codename Rhodium. We're going to move into bug fixes and improvements, and I'm going to hand it back over. Actually, you know what? I should talk about OS query contributions real quick. Is Zach on the call by chance? All right, cool. We'll click this. So we have lots of improvements. 5.19 is in pre-release, currently in Edge for Fleet D. We have more than half of the commits going into this this minor release, so that's awesome to see. A bunch of great stuff from Zach, Lucas, and Constantine. So awesome to see the continued commitment to building and supporting OS Query. If you want to learn more about any of these, just click on the agenda doc and link, and you can click into the issues and dig in a little bit more. All right, and with that, I hand it back over to George for MDM bug fixes and improvements.
All righty, I'll share my screen. And I'll try to just pull out the highlights. Of course, if you have any questions about any of these, feel free to reach out to me on Slack or in the Zoom chat while we're still on here. But wanted to highlight that we had a major story slip that is going to be probably ready sometime mid next week, and we're pushing it to 4.74. That is the add hydrant certificate authorities and the ability to request a certificate for any of your certificate authorities, starting with hydrant support. That was mainly because we had some P1 issues that Jordan tackled swimmingly for customer red wine. One of the things was DEP enrollment URLs were not syncing properly, and then inconsistencies when migrate to Fleet was shown from Fleet Desktop. Those were some of the bigger ones, as well as this was MDM status off on Windows hosts after migration. Turns out Windows or Microsoft explicitly said all MDM commands will be versions 1 through 6 explicitly. And then their latest version of Windows is now sending MDM commands with version 7. So that was just, we were being explicitly strict on accepting commands 1 through 6, and they did not update their documentation saying that now version 7 is supported. And that's all that was, but it did make some people very concerned because they were seeing Windows machines MDM status change to off. So big shout out to Jordan for covering the hot issues there. And then we've got a lot of cleanup and UI polish, I would say, for the rest of these. Let me know if y'all have any questions. Otherwise, that's it for the MDM team.
All right. We'll hand it over to orchestration for their bug fixes and improvements.
Okay, I'll try to be also quick as possible. So lots of things here. We are, as usual, not going into things, but just mentioning them. So on the improvement side, track SDLC metrics, time to QA ready, time to release ready. These are things that Victor created here. There are documents here. Feel free to follow. Another thing is make MySQL test port configurable via environment variable. Contributors can now use multiple MySQL test DBs on their machine, useful for parallel agentic AI workflows. Again, documentations are here. And then going to bugs, Windows MDM discovery endpoint returns vague value for invalid request version. Error with host certification insertion, data is too long. Those are all bugs that were fixed. Changing platform of a label via GitOps does not work. Self-service, clickable in Fleet desktop menu when Fleet server is unreachable. Dog food 5xx. This specific API. Now more test-related improvements. And I should say, again, there are many more details inside. If anyone feels they want to check in on a specific bug, feel free to drill into it it's all inside. So going back to test-related tests, use incorrect MySQL, SQL modes, hiding data integrity violations, update MySQL versions. We test with these versions. Flaky test here, flaky test there. Add integration tests that use TPM simulator. That is an important because TPM is hardware-based, and we need this here to do it on a simulator. More bugs on the 471 patch. SSO breaks when using separate admin URLs. This was actually a hot thing. What was it? The P1 that we solved and patched 471.1. Thank you, George, for helping us with the patching itself. And thanks everyone involved. And also we had some contributors. This one is, I won't say the customer, but Dan Ferry, very involved individual. And he fixed this updating Orbit from software page breaks Orbit on Linux. Lucas, would you like to present your stuff or you want me to read it out?
Yeah, I can go over like real quick on the first one, the frequent reconnect to fleet message and connectivity issue. In fleet D145.1, we added the offline indicator when your like machine cannot connect to fleet. It was too sensitive, so we fixed that, and it's gonna be shipped in 146. What will happen now is that if you're not connected after 1 minute, like of being offline, then after 1 minute it will show us offline, and then it will do like a reconnect check every 10 seconds or so, which is a ping request. So once you're back on internet, it will be back real quick, which was some feedback from the customers. We usually took like 5 minutes. Now it takes 10 seconds. And the other ones are just like minor bug fixes. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Anything else, Lucas?
Say that again, sorry.
No, that's it.
No.
Any questions on any bugs or anything at all? If not, then I want to say we put what we do with the engineer's name and get all the credit. And I should say, I just have the feeling that I must say kudos to the work with Rachel Shaw for heavy involvement in the sprint and great work. So thank you, everyone. And thank you, Rachel. And back to you, Luke.
Thank you, Sharon. And in the spirit of thank yous, thank you to anyone who's watching us on YouTube who's contributed. It's always a really big deal for us when we see a community contribution and we're able to merge it and get it released in the product. So love to see that. Please continue it. I know that we want to kind of highlight those contributions a bit more and celebrate them a bit more when they happen. So I think we're planning on figuring out a way to do that more publicly soon. All right, and over to software, you guys have a leisurely 15 minutes.
All right. Speaking of external contributions, we have a couple of them in here we're going to highlight, but I will pass it over to Rachel real quick to walk through these.
All right, I'll be very fast. This first one, I just wanted to call out, I think it was Brock who figured this out, but we're going to be doing some extensive icon work in the software area. So all of these beautiful icons here are going to get some revamps where we're allowing our users to upload their own icons, which is going to be amazing. But in the meantime, I had to do a little bit of cleanup work. We had, if you see here, we have Arch. Actually is an icon that is related to Arch Linux, and it was bleeding into our softwares, even though it's an operating system icon. And so even if you looked up Windows, for example, Windows app, it was showing the Windows icon, even though it's a Mac app. So there's going to be a lot of cleanup happening there. That's now, it's done on 473 for this, but it's laying the groundwork for having separate operating system icons versus software icons. The other two on here are not so annoying. If you had a VPB token set to specific teams, you couldn't reset it to all teams without setting it to no teams first. So that drop down is now fixed right here. you can now click on all teams and save. And then the last one on there is we added a bunch of recent actions in the self-service page. So this kind of is a 472 feature. Took a lot of work to make sure that when you were installing or uninstalling, while you're waiting for the host to refetch the software inventory, it was showing the proper install status as we're just waiting for the inventory to refetch. So that's it for me.
Great, thank you very much. And Ian,
Yep.
you're up next.
And this time I'm not starting muted. Improvements. All right, so calling out a couple of community contributions here. Previously, we wouldn't show a CVE number, the empty state on vulnerability details. Nice little easy fix. And I believe the original request is actually customer tagged on this. So thanks, Drew Travati, for this fix. Since Zach isn't here, calling out that both deb packages and RPM packages now include last used timestamps in both OS query, but also fleet inventory. This is not sure why that's there. Actually, we'll just do this. So a bit of a feature here, fleet maintained apps. When specified via GitOps previously, you couldn't override install or uninstall scripts or provide pre-install query or post-install script if you filed that via GitOps. In 473, you now can. They work the same way as if you specified them in line for a standard software package. Just going to close these out here. That's fine. And then for last open time, or well, yeah, last use is what the column previously was called, but it's when the app was last opened. We now differentiate between cases where we can't actually pull last open time, for example, browser extensions, and cases where an app was never opened. For example, supported platforms would be now Mac OS, Windows apps and programs respectively, and then RPM and deb packages for Linux. There's also a little bit of behavior cleanup on false positive vulnerabilities. Previously, we would clear those false positives out if they were older than twice the amount of basically twice the amount of time on the schedule where vulnerabilities would get pulled. So if you pulled them every hour, then it would get cleared after every 2 hours. This meant that there was no quick way of manually clearing out false positives without also clearing kind of the rest of your vulnerabilities. Now what we do is we use the time the vulnerabilities run started and then clear out any false positives or any kind of stale vulnerabilities that happened before that timestamp. So a lot more predictable behavior and makes it a little bit easier for us to validate fixes as we fix false positives or false negatives. There was error in installers for back in, I believe, 456 or 457, we introduced uninstall scripts. There is a background job that populates those for packages that were upgraded or uploaded beforehand. That script was tripping over fleet maintained apps that don't necessarily have the ability to parse metadata within Fleet Server. We kind of handled that out of band. And those errors have now been skipped because there's not actually anything we need to do for those uninstall scripts anyway. Finally, a few fixes that will be landing in Fleet D 1.46, which is going to be released imminently. We were unable to extract a few types of edge cases on tarballs when installing those packages on Linux, and those edge cases have been fixed to where that extraction happened successfully. And that's all I got. Thanks, Tim. Back to you.
Cool. Thank you very much. Just one, I just want to circle back to real quick because I think customer support is going to be actually excited about this one in particular. I've seen that since I've been at Fleet, where we fix a false positive or some kind of vulnerability bug, the Fleet gets released and deployed, and the bug looks like it's still there. And we generally kind of tell customers to wait until the next vulnerability run. That no longer happens anymore. So we hopefully we should see a big decrease in those kinds of reports. So really happy to see that one. Next up is Constantine. You want to kind of maybe chat through some of the findings here in a future feature to support in-house iOS apps.
Someday I'll unmute. Yeah, so I did a lot of research on how we are going to be able to deploy enterprise applications, which are basically applications you get a special developer license, and you no longer have to take it through the App Store review, but you can rather just deploy directly to devices. So some of our competitors do this now, and we will also be doing this in the near future. Then we had a bug where VPP apps were not getting the last install, the time when they're last installed. We have a community contribution by PM Droid. Thank you. To allow us to pass a CVSS URL as a parameter for vulnerability processing. So this bug had to do with our FMA test automation. We were not installing Chrome properly. Shout out to FMA test automation actually running as of the beginning of this sprint. Let's see here. This was a bug where we were not able to run GitOps with software installers that contain Fleet secrets. That's because the dry run was failing. It wasn't adding Fleet secrets into the database. It's a dry run. Software APIs. So this actually is a small enhancement. We're going to be adding automatic install policies on the host inventory page. Small false positive for CVEs, and a very fun subtle bug about last open time on the software inventory page for hosts. Snuck that one in there today. And that's it.
Great, thank you very much. And a new shout out, first PR, I believe, for Jonathan Katz. If you are on, I didn't actually check to see if you're on.
I am.
Great. This is also our very first MSRC bug in the feed, so that's also a fun new area for us. Want to maybe chat through that one real quick?
Yeah, so I'll just introduce myself real quickly. I'm Jonathan, live in Ontario, Canada, and I'm pretty interested in low-level software stuff, so like OS query and cybersecurity in general. And yeah, I'm really excited to work in the software team and with Fleet because it's super cool. So anyway, for this bug, the MSRC feed used to have some wrong CVEs that were typoed. So like some old CVEs from 2024 were accidentally typoed as 2025, and when they showed up on Fleet, they just looked empty and like there's a bug that shows CVEs incorrectly. So what I did is to the daily NVD feed generation, added a flag to clean it. So instead of pulling from the previous NVD release from Fleet, I just completely re-downloads everything from MSRC for every month for the last like 5 years. And that way, the bad CVs don't show up anymore. And in the future, if they release any bad CVs, then we can fix that by just cleaning. So yeah, that's it.
Very cool. All right, and that wraps it up for the software team. Back to you, Luke.
Awesome. Thank you. Welcome, Jonathan. Great to see your contribution and glad to have you on the team. All right. That is, I think, the end of our regularly scheduled programming. Does anyone have anything they'd like to highlight or ask before we wrap up?